the foundation of everything we do in relationship must be how God relates to us. You know, we spoke about what to build our relationships on, not on what we can get from people, but on what we can give. Because most of the problems we have in relationships is due to the expectations we have. You know, I expected you to do this, to do that, things. But if you reduce your expectations and if you take more on yourself, if you take the challenge on yourself, then your relationship will be smoother and it will be less vulnerable. Just like if you decide to change, then the people around you will change. But if you only desire other people around you to change, you will remain frustrated all your life. I would like to read something about cohabitation. Research shows that cohabitation is correlated with greater likelihood of unhappiness and domestic violence in the relationship. Cohabiting couples report lower level of satisfaction in the relationship than married couples. Women are more likely to be abused by a cohabiting boyfriend than her husband. Children are more likely to be abused by their mother's boyfriends than by her husband, even if the boyfriend is their biological father. If a cohabiting couple ultimately marries, they tend to report lower levels of marital satisfaction and a higher propensity to divorce. So, I mean, we choose our own ways, but the consequences are there. So God's ways are still the better for us. We don't need to think up our own algorithm, our own method. We just need to humble ourselves. We don't need to trust God, the one that created the heaven and the earth. It's better we go by his ways than trying to come out with some other arrangement that will lead to nothing at the end of the day. So let's stay, I mean, I'm not talking to you, but we have to encourage our generation to stay by what God plans, because the binding link in family, in marriage is the commitment. You know, the wedding vows, the commitment we made. And cohabitation lacks commitment. Nobody commits to anything, you know. Just like I said, the man can just leave at any time. And the man, the father of your children, is just your husband. It's just a boyfriend. It's not a husband. Husbands take responsibilities. And, you know, boyfriends are temporary, you know. It's not ready to commit to a, you know, longer time of relationship. So I think, like I said, women are more vulnerable, and we shouldn't settle for anything less than God's purpose for our life. And if we are married, let's be married in the right way, and let's, you know, enjoy our marriage. It's better to remain single and enjoy life than to be in a frustrating marriage and family. So we have to know our worth. We have to know what we are doing here, and we have to make things right. I believe if women will have a higher standard of worth, and if they will not take what we call nonsense, yeah, I think that will help the men. But because we women will lower the standard, anything goes. We're so desperate to get married. Like, it's like, if I go out now, I will get married to the first man I meet, you know? You see, we're so desperate to get married, so we lower the standard and we're just falling and falling and falling. But if we raise the standard, I'm telling you, the men will rise to the standard. Because that's one thing that is good with falling in love. You know, if a man is really in love with a lady, you know, he will try his best to reach the standard the lady will require. So, I mean, that might be the only time you can require anything, you see. So you have to seize the opportunity. So I think we women, we are part of the problem because we are making relationship very cheap. You know, we are, anything goes. We just want to get married. And of course, if we are if we are overcome by the desire of just getting married, then of course we cannot get the best. Somebody said the best time to get married is when you are not in need of getting married. You see, when you don't really need to get married. The person, that's the best time to get married, because now you have a cool head, you can analyze everything. So it's like, I really want to get married. Oh, today is the happiest day of my life. I'm so thrilled. I waited for this for years. The best time to get married is when you are self-sufficient. When it's not that you are going in there to get something. When it's like you are doing your future husband a favor, by marrying him or by marrying her. But that's the best time to get married, because that way you get the best out of the marriage. But if you are not complete and the man is not complete, you get married, but you have issues, you have problems, this, that. So the best time to get something is when you are not really in need of it. Then you can really serve. And what I read now, I want to emphasize that you have more rate of domestic violence in all this illegal, marriage, family relationship committed. And one of the biggest reasons why marriage is more successful than cohabitation is the commitment that is in the marriage. Because you have put yourself in a boundary, you have committed yourself to somebody, you have announced it, and you know how they do wedding, especially in some African countries, you have traditional weddings, you have the official wedding, it's a big thing, so all those things bind you. You can't just say you are leaving. Where are you going? You just threw a party yesterday. It's not so easy. So putting ourselves around, boundaries really help us to remain more committed, and do things the way God will want us to do it. There are some risk factors for premarital sex. That's for young people that we have to let them know. Alcohol and drug use. If a teenager, if a young man is in drugs or in alcohol, then that's a very risk factor, because they are not in charge of their lives. And actually that's what happens to many girls. They get drunk, and by the time they know it, every other thing has come in. So being in our right senses and, living a moderate life is very important, and we have to encourage our young people. That's one of the reasons why they shouldn't use drugs, they shouldn't use alcohol, because it's like it cuts off their brain. They cannot think. And when you cannot think, bad things go. The second reason is, having what you call, having a steady boyfriend or girlfriend. Of course, if I'm a girl and I have friends, they will be, and if they are boys, they are boyfriends. But you understand what I mean by boyfriends, because if your friend is a boy, it's a boyfriend. But steady boyfriend is already more than just normally my friend or a normal boyfriend. It's somebody you are going into more intimate relationship with. And here you are, 13 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old, 18 years old. You are just finishing secondary school. You still have to study in the university. You still have to think about life. And here you are hanging around somebody that is also 16. He doesn't know where he's going to. And he's announcing to the whole world that you are my girlfriend, you are my fiancé. Dark age, dark forest. He doesn't know where he's going to. You are following him also. You're introducing him to, it's such a mess. But the word steady is very important, because, when you are too familiar with somebody,